Happy beautiful day. Welcome to another show. Today's show is going to be a solo cast. And I wanted to do a solo cast today because I've got some information that I've been wanting to share with all of you. And today's topic is one that every single client talks to me about. And it's how do I fight cravings? I've come up with 16 tips to help you fight your cravings because it is the most common thing that every single one of us is going to face. And I want to share with you these 16 tips that have been tried and tested with my clients. And they've also given me feedback and given some of these tips that I'm going to share with you. Hopefully you're able to take away some tools to help you fight your cravings. I hope you enjoy. And if you do have a moment, please like and subscribe to this podcast because it helps us get the information out to everybody to support them on optimizing their health. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the podcast. I truly appreciate you taking time to listen to me of all people when you have tons of options to listen to. It means a lot to me that you're able to take the information that I share with you. Today's podcast is going to be about how to fight food cravings. I've got 16 tips to share with you. They've been tried and tested and they've been given to me from my clients of what they've used to actually work. So I hope you enjoy. Let's get rocking. Tip number one is what is your why? The reason why I bring this up is because when you're fighting off your cravings, you have to remember what is the goal that you're looking to achieve. Because if you have a strong why, you accept a lot of the behaviors that are going to come to achieve your goals. And that will mean that you will have to fight off cravings. But when you have a strong attachment to the end goal, that will help you accept behaviors that need to come with it. You'll realize that it's not going to be forever. It's just where you are right now to achieve your goal. And that will help you have less emotion towards that goal. The first tip you have to remember is why are you doing this? Tip number two is to make sure that you eat all of the food that you are supposed to eat in a day. Many of our clients that we've worked with always tell us that they have a lot of cravings when they skip a meal or they skipped a protein serving or they skipped a vegetable serving or a fruit or a carb serving that was in their protocol. Whenever you have a craving, look back on your day and say, did I miss any servings that I was supposed to have? Because that could be leading to why you actually are having the craving. If you eat all of the food that you were supposed to eat in a day and you actually don't have cravings, just go back and eat what you missed in the day. If you missed, for example, your vegetables at breakfast, so let's say you missed about 1 to 2 cups of the vegetables that you're supposed to be eating, eat that before giving into your craving because that's probably why you're having the craving. Tip number two is to make sure that you eat all of the food that you're supposed to eat in a day. Tip number three, do not go for long periods in between meals. Usually we hear feedback from our clients that if you go longer than about 4 to 5 hours, they'll tell us that they start to get cravings. You're not really having cravings at this point, probably just needing to eat some food. And remember, the longer you go in between meals, you'll see that blood sugar will start to drop. You'll feel kind of tired, lethargic. And so now cravings will start to kick in. If you can, try to eat anywhere between 3 to 4 hours per day. Many of my clients are aware that the system that I really program for them is I like them to eat 4 meals per day. This way, you're always eating by the time you get hungry, which means fighting your cravings. Energy levels stay higher. And remember that if energy levels start to drop, your cravings will start to increase. And when you're tired and you're hungry, it's never going to be a good situation for you because you're probably going to give into the craving. The third tip is to make sure that you eat nice meals spaced out and that you know that you are going to eat because you're probably just hungry because you're going too long in between meals. Tip number 4 is make sure that you do weigh your food. Many people have mixed reviews around using a food scale. For me, it's a tool that many of my clients realized helped them fight their food cravings because they actually saw what a portion was for their weight, for their body fat, and for their goal. When you weigh your food every time you eat it, it ensures that you are getting the correct portion that you need that keeps you full and that will give you the satiety that you're looking for that will help fight cravings at the end of the day. Because if you skip a meal and then you skip a couple of bites at one meal and you skip a bite at a couple of other meals and then you're eating and you're missing meals in between and you're going long periods, it's only going to up your cravings. This is one of the reasons why I recommend the food scale a lot with my clients when they work with me because it ensures they're going to get the right portion of the food that they need to keep them full to fight off cravings. Majority of you who are my clients will always say, when I eat the portions that you give me, Harry, I have no cravings, I have tons of energy, and I don't even want to think about food. Make sure that you do use a food scale and you use the correct portions. Tip number 5, eat whole food. One ingredient food is food when you eat it in its natural state. So it's not processed. It's all going to be from earth to plate. Now, the benefits of eating whole food is that it gives you satiety. For example, if you ate 4 ounces of hummus or you ate 3 hard-boiled eggs, 3 hard-boiled eggs will keep you fuller longer and it gives you the opportunity to have less cravings. When you eat whole food, you're going to have a higher satiety index rate, meaning it's going to keep you fuller longer. And number 2 is you get to eat more volume, and generally real food has less calories. And when you eat more real food, you're also going going to get more nutrients. So whenever you're eating whole food, you're going to notice that if you actually check the calories of a whole food meal, you're going to notice that you can have way more calories, way more volume. You're going to get more nutrients, which then keeps your cravings down, so you actually won't be as hungry. So making sure that you really stick to that whole food process is going to help you fight off your cravings by the end of the day. Tip number 6, make sure that you food prep in advance so that you have your meals planned and organized for the day. So if you come home from work and you don't have food prep and you have tons of cravings, you know what's going to happen. You're probably going to go into the pantry and grab a couple of crackers, and the next thing you got cheese, and then you got dip, and the next thing you know, you've eaten a whole bag of crackers, and then dinner comes around and you're not hungry. So making sure that you have enough food in the house that is whole food based is number 1. If your protocol says to eat 4 eggs per day, don't buy 12 eggs a week. You know that you're going to need 28 eggs. So make sure you buy enough food. Number 2 is make sure you prep more food. We see many clients before they met us, they would make 2 chicken breasts, 1 for dinner and 1 for their spouse. That was it. Now they're making 6 because now they're going to have more food prep for the next day, which is going to prevent them from skipping meals. So making sure that you do spend about 15 to 30 minutes in the kitchen every day, your meals are planned, strategized, and organized for the day is going to help you fight your cravings. But you got to make sure the food is there. Take the time to prep your food to fight off cravings, because it's better to have a structured meal than I'm going to wing it meal, because then you may not get the result that you're looking for. And then what happens is you've underate, then you're taking too long in between meals because you got to cook the food, and then cravings start to happen, and then it just becomes an uncontrollable cycle of where you're just starving. Make sure your food is organized for the day for you to be ahead of it. Number 7 is make sure that you are hydrated. Just by drinking enough water will lower your hunger levels and your cravings. Whenever you drink water, make sure that you're aiming for your weight in ounces per day. If you're 200 pounds, you should be aiming for about 100 ounces per day. Remember that food has a lot of water in it, and food can also kill off cravings because it keeps you full. So just from drinking the water that you need in a day can reduce your cravings. Tip number 8, make sure that you get good quality sleep. When you get good quality sleep, it's going to help you reduce your total cravings for the day because your blood sugar is going to be lower. You're going to be more rested, so meaning you'll have more energy. And whenever you have energy, I always say it's the root of all healing. When you have enough energy, you're going to be able to fight off your cravings, you're going to be able to prep more food, and you're going to have great workouts. So make sure that you do get your 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and also realize that if you don't have a good quality sleep, that you probably are going to have a bit more cravings. So you're going to want to be a little bit more detailed to make sure you weigh, prep your food in advance, get it organized, because that day is just going to be a little bit harder. Ensuring you get the quality of sleep that you deserve is going to be important to fighting off your cravings long term. Tip number 9 is don't keep the kryptonite food in the house. This is the biggest thing that you can do to help support fighting your cravings. Is that, remember, a lot of people will say, oh, I should be able to keep the food in your house. Yeah, you know what? Maybe you can, but all you're going to do is use your willpower, and you have to use your discipline. I prefer that clients use structure. When it comes to your kryptonite food, I'll give you an example. Mine's ice cream. I do not bring that into my house because if I do, it continuously talks to me to eat me. Now, what I will do is I will leave, go have it, eat it, and then come back and not bring it into the house, because if I bring it in the house, I'm going to eat it. Am I having a craving, or am I just wanting it because it's in the house? Because I didn't buy it to look at it, I bought it to eat it. One of the best things you can do to save your willpower and save your discipline is to use structure. Bringing it in at a strategic moment where maybe people are coming over and you buy a smaller serving and then you eat it, whatever's left over, you just throw it out. That's what I like to do. But the number one thing I can tell you to do is don't keep your kryptonite food in your house, or where you didn't prep your food, you're not organized, you're running around, and the next thing you know, you ate a whole bucket of ice cream. It's happened to me. I have done that for a long period of time. It's one of the things that key to my success is making sure that I don't keep my kryptonite foods in the house. Tip number 10, go for a walk. So there you are. You just finished dinner. You are putting the kids to bed. You're sitting in front of the TV and you say, I want something. That is the best time to go for a walk. Why? Because now you're getting away from the environment where the food is. Number 2, you're going to improve your digestion by going for a walk. Number 3, you're going to help balance out your blood sugar, which is going to be great for your sleep. And number 4 is you get outside and you get fresh air. Whenever you go outside and get fresh air, you're going to actually improve your sleep quality, because now you're going to come home from walking outside, kitchen's closed, you're going to go right upstairs. Whenever you are getting a craving, even if it's in the middle of the day, just go for a walk and just reflect back maybe on why you're having the craving, or what you can do just to keep your mind off of things. Because when you go for a walk, it's going to calm you down, it's going to help you forget about some things, and then you can come back and the craving is gone. Tip 11, go to bed. This is super important. You've sat down, you're watching a movie, you got into a show, Netflix is auto replaying the next show for you. It's now 11:30 at night. You ate dinner at 7 p.m. Now it's 11:30 p.m. and you're having a craving. Go to bed. Now it's just, let's get to bed, let's get to sleep. And that will help you fight a lot of your cravings, because majority of us have it it all at the end of the day. We've had a chance to breathe. We're sitting in front of the TV. We got a TV show and we're having cravings. Shut the TV off, get off Instagram, and go right to bed. That will help you fight probably 50% of your cravings in a day. Tip number 12, have a Zevia or like a bubbly drink. This is something that a lot of our clients have said they've used. I actually use this tip myself, is at the end of dinner, I'll sit down at the end of the day and I'll watch TV and I'll just pop open a bubbly. My favorite is always going to be lime or apple, and I just sit there and drink it. And it's something sweet, doesn't have any calories added to it. It's refreshing and it just helps me relax by the end of the day. If you're looking for something at night to help you fight the cravings, have a bubbly or have a Zevia drink, because that will help you with curbing that craving because it's a little bit sweet. Tip number 13 is have a bone broth or have a cup of tea. The good thing about bone broth, if you're a person that craves something salty, that will kill that salty craving. Or number 2 is with teas, you can have tons of different varieties. You can get chamomile to calm you down. You can get chocolate. You can get mint. You can get different flavors that day you might be craving that. So just by having a cup of tea or a bone broth after you eat, you're just sitting in front of TV, it can help relax you and it can help fight off the craving because you've still got something in your hand that you're drinking. Tip number 14, brush your teeth. I don't get this one, but I would tell you probably 10% of my clients all brush their teeth after they eat dinner, and they say they're not eating anymore for the rest of the day, even if they have cravings, because they don't want to go back and brush their teeth. Just by finishing your last meal and fighting off the craving, brushing your teeth can help you with fighting off your cravings. I've never used this one, but I would tell you a lot of my clients use it and they say it works with great success because it's a part of their routine. Once they brush their teeth, the kitchen's closed, there's no more food for the day, and they go right to bed. Tip number 15, find a lower calorie version of the craving that you're having. So I'll give you an example. If you're craving sweets, have some fruit. If you're craving salt, have some dill pickles. If you're going to actually give in to your craving, one of the tips I would give you is find the lower calorie version of it and buy the smallest portion you can get. If you do keep them in the house, this way you know that you're not going to overeat. It's a small portion and it's going to prevent you from way overeating and then feeling sluggish and feeling tired after eating it. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you're craving something salty. Maybe you just run over and get some dill pickles, or you make some kale chips, or you have an electrolyte mix. If you're craving something sweet, maybe just a little bit of fruit, or sometimes I like little maple syrup candy. That can actually help very well, or just having a piece of gum. That can kill a craving. If you're going to give into the craving, make sure that you have the lowest calorie version, so that way when you give in, you're not going to totally throw off all of your results. Tip number 16, and the last one, is fight it. Sometimes you just have to practice and dig your heels into the ground and say, I'm not giving in. Because one of the things I always tell clients is that when you have a lot of sugar cravings, you have to be okay with the fact that you practiced eating sugar every day at 2 o'clock or every day at 9 o'clock. So sometimes you just have to fight, break the pattern of what you've created, and make sure that you just dig in and say, you know what, I'm not eating it today. And the one thing that a lot of clients have told us when they practice that is that 2 to 3 weeks later, they don't have the cravings as much because it just became part of the routine that they ate their meals and they moved on. But in the beginning, your cravings will be higher. So you're going to need to fight it to retrain your patterns, to rebuild your palate. That way you don't crave it all the time. Just sometimes you just got to fight it and you just got to move on. Hopefully one of the tips above helped you with fighting off your cravings, that you can be able to fight it a lot easier. But sometimes you just got to be like, you know what? I'm not eating anymore. I'm having craving for chips, but I'm just not going to eat them today. Okay. Those are the 16 tips that I'll give you to help you fight your cravings. Now, before I leave you, I also want to remind you about a couple of things when it comes to cravings. Number one is you have to remember that cravings will be there forever, but your goal is temporary. When you start to look at your cravings, let's say you went eating a lot of processed food to now you're making changes in your diet and you're trying to focus on whole food. Remember, for the first 2 to 3 weeks, your cravings are going to be high. So you have to remember that they're not going to be forever, but as you retrain yourself, that's going to help you fight off those cravings. Okay. The second thing I want to remind you about is that if you are in a weight loss or a body composition change protocol, remember that you will have cravings as you lower your food. So the lower you go into a calorie deficit, for the longer that you go in, you are going to have more cravings. It's a part of the ride and you're going to have to fight it. You might have to go for a walk. You might have to go for a bubbly. It's not about giving into it. It's that you have to actually do it, because as you reduce your caloric load, you realize that your cravings are going to go up. And so you have to remember that that is just a part of the process, and you're trying to break through a plateau. You're trying to get to that new level of body fat or break that weight goal. And it's just going to take you fighting off the craving. But remember, as I tell people, that will never be forever, that you can never give into it or find the lower calorie version. It's just for your goal is today. But I'll always remind you that cravings will be there forever. The more strategy you use to help fight them off, and the better versions of food that you do use, will help you reduce the cravings and give you the opportunity to fight them. Any one of these strategies, you might not use one strategy. You might have to use all 16 because it's going to depend on your day. It's going to depend on your mood. It's going to depend on how your day went. Utilize all of them. Try them. And some days it might be just, you know what? It's plus 30 out. I'm having a craving for ice cream. I'm just going to go for a walk. You know what? Today it's minus 30 and it's really cold. I'm having a craving. I'm going to have a cup of bone broth. Any one of these tips can work. They're going to be different for each individual on every single day. So don't feel like you can only use one tool and say, oh, it's just not working anymore. Use multiples. Be a person who has a ninja effect to be able to fight off all the cravings. I hope this podcast has helped you. I hope there's some tools here that you can use for yourself to fight off cravings. If you have any additions, let us know. Share them in the comments. Be better in fighting off the cravings because we all fight cravings. We all need to be able to have tools to help us fight off cravings, and not every single one of these is going to work. And if you have one that you've used and has been successful, share it so we can all support each other. I hope you enjoyed this. If you can, make sure that you subscribe to our podcast because it helps us share the information. Have a wonderful day.